Hi guys, good morning. I did a statement on the floor on the state of youth unemployment in the country. And this morning as I came in, I'm seeing lots of your messages after my office posted a video of that statement. So I just thought maybe take some time to respond to it as part of our monthly conversation. I'll run through a few and try and give responses and probably try and give some better explanations where there are questions. And I'll start with this from Abena Mensa, who says the 32% youth unemployment and we are celebrating recovery. You can't eat macroeconomic indicators. We need real job creation. The AI hub bringing 100,000 tech jobs to Accra is what inclusion actually looks like. So Abna is one of those who is, I think, being startled by the data that I put out yesterday. It's not my data, it's in the Ghana Statistical Service data sets, and it says that the youth unemployment problem is rising. Now, in the Greater Accra region, youth unemployment is at 49.3%. What it means is that when you meet two young people in the Greater Accra region, one is most likely not working. And across the country, if you use Ghana's definition of youth, nearly 2 million of our people are not in school, not in training, and not working. And the problem, according to the Statistical Service data set, is getting worse. And what we've been talking about is the fact that if we don't take some drastic measures, by August, September, as more people graduate and come out of school, it will actually get a lot worse. And that's why we've been looking at some of the government programs supposedly to create jobs and drawing the government's attention that they are not delivering on the numbers that they are promising, particularly for youth unemployment. And it's important that they stop the celebration and drama and quickly pay some more attention to practical ideas. So we'll get into that at some point. Stefano D says, state of what youth unemployment? The backlog of nurses and teachers, are they adult unemployment? I get Stefano's point. You know, our young people have some way of writing their comments. But essentially, he's saying that it's not just a youth unemployment problem, there's a broader unemployment problem which needs to be attended to. And it's true. It's because a lot of emphasis is being put on the fact that the unemployment problem will be solved through the public sector. The government will create jobs. And that's one of the major deceptions that we are calling out government on, that you don't have the capacity to create jobs for the entire market. Yet you are continuously promising people that you are going to create jobs. And even for those interventions you have promised, you are not funding them, you are not implementing them. So even the public sector component will not work. And the things you are doing in the broader economy actually make it a lot more difficult for the private sector component to work. And I'll explain that as we go along. Kelly Ofori, Kelly's just giving me fans. He says a consummate economic strategist. Kojo, keep leading. Prosper Rashid says, Mahama is calling Ghanaians in the diaspora to come back for Formula 133 shift. NDC is as confused as the amended LGBTQ bill. Actually, I was shocked when I heard the president saying to Ghanaians in the diaspora that the 133 shift is working and therefore they should come for jobs back home. Mr. President, even the young people back home, they are not getting jobs because the 133 shift is not working. The 24-hour economy authority that you created, respectfully, we drew your attention when your team came to parliament that even that authority, they don't work 24 hours and they have no plan to create a shift system that will give people 133 jobs. Yet, people are going around repeating the propaganda. The President of the Republic himself on a stage in London telling Ghanaians that 133 is working, so they should come back home. It's not true. Where are the 133 jobs? And the earlier we stop this propaganda and spin and rather pay attention to ensuring that the things that will allow private sector to create more jobs are done in whole, the better. I know you would say that, interest rates have come down. But look at it. If inflation is 3.7 and interest rates are at 16, don't you see such a wide gap between it? And if interest rates have come up, yet banks rather prefer to give their money to the Bank of Ghana rather than lend to the private sector, because the Bank of Ghana is sterilizing at very attractive rates as against an interest in going to the market. How is that going to make the private sector expand? And the consequence of the sterilization is that everybody's telling you there's no money in town to demand goods. So people open their shops and people are not buying. Today, the Vehicle Dealers Association is announcing that people are staying in their yards for 8 months. Nobody's buying a vehicle. Why? Because you've sterilized all the money out of the economy. So if we now go and tell people in the diaspora that 133 is working, so they should come, we may cause more problems than already exists. Kaleshi Kwesi Dachomo, I hope I got the name right, says, was the youth unemployment currently more than 14.7 inherited? Mind you, unemployment is single digits, 8% in 2016. Yeah, so Kaleshi, I have seen this kind of data that some of our colleagues like to throw out. First of all, this data is inaccurate because there are ways by which the Statistical Service measures narrow and broad unemployment. So I noticed that sometimes the NDC guys like to use narrow to compare to the current one. But I'll put that aside. Let us even assume that this data is correct. The same Ghana Statistical Service is telling you that between December 2024 and Q3 2025, the problem has gotten worse. We left office in December 2024. So if the problem has gotten worse between December 2024 and 1.5 years into the NDC government, the answer is not that in the MPP era, it wasn't attended to. In fact, in our statement yesterday, we put it on the table that no government has wholly solved it, even including the last government. But that is not an excuse for non-delivery, my brother. It's not an excuse for non-delivery. You have been given the mandate of the people, and the problem is getting worse on your watch. And what we need to do is to focus and work together to fix it. Not to say that in the MPP era, they didn't fully resolve it. That's why Ghanaians voted the MPP out. Jeffrey Osei says, Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, if we have proposals for policy committee to consider, how do we do that and get it to you? So Jeffrey, thanks. And I'm sure you are talking about the MPP policy architecture. We're shortly going to put out contact handles by which you can send us papers or drafts that you have, which will be referred to the various committees. And we're in the process of setting up the secretariat here in Kokomlemle, Accra, where you can also, if you want to hand deliver. We believe in getting everybody on board and learning lessons from what has happened in the past and using those lessons to define the ideas that will better serve our people. So colleagues, this is what we've been talking about in Parliament, about youth unemployment and the need to tackle it some more. And we're going to keep an eye on this data set and be always updating the country, but also coming closer to you to find out what your lived experience on youth unemployment is, so that we can let the government know and so that they can address it a lot better than it's being done now. Thank you. Wish you all the best. Happy June. And I just happy June. You can't say.